Welcome to Mini Stories, where we will be listening to the story, The Road Not Taken. There are moments in life when everything seems to come to a halt. When time doesn't move as quickly as it used to, when the days blend into each other like unremarkable shadows. That was how my life had felt for the past few years, like I was living in a fog, constantly waiting for something, but not knowing what. My name is Clara Montgomery, and I was a woman who, at one point, had everything figured out. I had a successful career in marketing, a loving husband, and two beautiful children. I was well liked in my community and had a circle of friends who often invited me to social events. From the outside, I seemed to have it all together. But deep inside, I felt like something was missing. Like there was a part of me that had been forgotten, lost somewhere along the way. It started subtly at first, an occasional feeling of restlessness. I told myself it was just the pressure of work, of managing a household, and raising children. But it didn't go away. Slowly, I began to realize that I was living a life dictated by others, my job, my responsibilities, my family. It wasn't a life I had chosen for myself, it was a life I had been given, and I had simply accepted it without question. My dreams were buried deep beneath the weight of what I thought I should be doing. The breaking point came one evening, on my way home from work. I had just finished a long day at the office, helping to close a major deal with a client. As I drove home, I felt a sudden wave of exhaustion wash over me. It wasn't just physical, it was emotional, mental, and spiritual. I was tired of pretending everything was fine when inside, I felt completely empty. I parked the car in the driveway and sat there for a moment, staring at my reflection in the rearview mirror. That night, I didn't go inside. Instead, I drove aimlessly, not knowing where I was going, only knowing that I needed space. I needed time to think. I eventually found myself at a small, quiet park by the river. I parked the car and sat on a bench, watching the rippling water, lost in thought. My phone buzzed in my pocket. It was a message from my husband, Ethan. "Where are you?" he asked. "The kids are asking when you're coming home." I felt a pang of guilt. Ethan and I had been married for over 12 years. We had built a life together, and I loved him, but I couldn't shake the feeling that we had drifted apart. It wasn't that we fought or argued, we just existed alongside each other. There was no passion, no excitement, no connection beyond the surface. I wasn't sure when it had happened, but it had. And now, here I was, driving away from it all. I typed a quick reply. "I'll be home soon." Just needed a little time. The truth was, I didn't know when I'd be back. I didn't know what I was searching for, only that I had to find something. Something that would bring me back to life. The next few days passed in a blur. I went back to my routine, work, family, and the occasional weekend outing. But nothing felt the same anymore. My thoughts kept drifting back to that night by the river. I realized that I couldn't keep living this way, pretending that everything was fine. I needed to change something, but I didn't know what. That's when the invitation came. It arrived in the mail on a Saturday afternoon. The envelope was simple, white with no return address. Inside was a handwritten note from my old friend, Isabel. She and I had been close during our college years, but we lost touch after graduation when she moved to another city. The note read, "Dear Clara, I hope this letter finds you well. I know it's been a long time, but I wanted to reach out and invite you to something special. I've been working on a personal project, and I think it's exactly what you need right now. Please come visit me. I'll explain everything when you arrive. My door is always open for you. With love, Isabel." I was intrigued, though part of me felt hesitant. What could Isabel possibly want after all these years? And why was she so sure that I needed something from her? But I had nothing to lose. The emptiness in my life was growing, and maybe this was the change I had been waiting for. I called Ethan to let him know I was going away for a few days. He didn't seem to mind, in fact, he encouraged it, as if he could sense that I needed some time to myself. I packed a small bag, kissed the kids, goodbye, and drove to Isabel's house, which was a few hours away in the countryside. When I arrived at her home, I was struck by the tranquility of the place. The house was nestled among tall trees, with a view of rolling hills in the distance. It was a far cry from the bustling city I had grown accustomed to, and it immediately put me at ease. Isabel greeted me at the door with a warm hug. She hadn't changed much, still the same lively, energetic woman I remembered. She was in her late 30s, but there was a certain calm about her now, a sense of peace that I envied. "I'm so glad you came," she said, leading me inside. "I know it's been a long time, but I'm glad we're reconnecting." We sat down in her cozy living room, sipping tea as she explained what she had been doing in recent years. Isabel had become a life coach, helping people who were stuck in their lives find purpose and fulfillment. She had also spent several years traveling the world, studying different cultures and spiritual practices. But what struck me the most was how deeply fulfilled she seemed. She wasn't just talking about theories or self-help techniques, she had lived it. She had changed her life in ways I couldn't even imagine. "I can see it in your eyes, Clara," Isabel said gently. "You're at a crossroads. You've been living for everyone else, but now it's time for you to live for yourself." Her words hit me like a ton of bricks. She was right. I had spent so many years putting everyone else's needs above my own, but in the process, I had lost myself. I didn't even know who I was anymore, other than a wife and a mother. And that wasn't enough. Isabel invited me to join one of her workshops that weekend. She explained that it was a small, intimate group of women who were all going through similar transitions in their lives. At first, I was hesitant. The idea of opening up to strangers about my personal struggles felt daunting. But Isabel assured me that it would be a safe and supportive space, and after some thought, I agreed. The workshop turned out to be everything I didn't know I needed. The women in the group were diverse, different ages, backgrounds, and stories. Some were mothers like me, some were divorced, some were simply searching for a new direction in life. We spent the weekend doing exercises that pushed us to confront our fears, our regrets, and our dreams. I was uncomfortable at first, so used to being in control, to pretending everything was fine. But by the end of the weekend, I felt lighter, as though a weight had been lifted from my chest. I began to understand that the emptiness I had been feeling wasn't something to be afraid of, it was an opportunity. An opportunity for growth, for change, for rediscovery. I learned that I didn't have to have all the answers right now. I didn't have to know exactly what my future held. I just had to take the first step. When I returned home, I felt like a new person. I had a renewed sense of purpose, and I was ready to make some changes. I talked to Ethan about what I had experienced during the weekend, and he listened with an open heart. He supported me, even though he didn't fully understand everything. But the truth was, I didn't understand it either. I just knew that I was different, that I was beginning a journey, and that I wasn't alone. Over the next several months, I worked hard to redefine my life. I started small, picking up old hobbies, reconnecting with friends, and even starting a part-time freelance career in marketing. It wasn't easy, and there were days when I felt lost and unsure. But I didn't give up. Slowly but surely, I built a new life for myself, one that wasn't defined by anyone else's expectations but my own. And then, one day, I realized something. I wasn't just living for myself, I was living for my family too. My children saw the change in me, and it inspired them. Ethan and I found new ways to connect, to support each other, and to grow together. The journey wasn't always easy, but it was mine. And for the first time in a long time, I was excited to see where it would take me. The end. Thanks for watching. If you liked the video, like, comment, share, and subscribe.